The Curse of Death 7.0 Snezhnaya lore by Roosevelt.
Spoiler alert for Act 1 and 2 of the Snezhnaya Archon quest. Hi, it's me, Roosevelt. Introductions are always the hardest part of a video, and honestly, I wanted to do a cold open with one of those anime edits of Pierro set to the song Daddy's Home by Usher, but that would take a lot of effort, and also copyright issues. This has probably been my favorite Archon quest, simply because
Dude, look at him. Oh my god, he's so fucking cool. God, look at his stupid face. Oh my god, his stupid face is so freaking stupid and cool.
He is in fact home, and my god, seeing him protect Paimon, boy howdy. Ow! Daddy. And no.
Dude, that actually sounded like a Tom and Jerry freaking scream.
Well, we're not going to debate whether or not he's a DILF or a GILF. Okay, wait, sorry, I kind of blacked out there. So,
could be both.
Let's actually talk about the Archon quest. So, just a brief summary. We rock up to Snezhnaya and learn about an ongoing energy crisis and the economics behind buying crystal. I mean, buying crystal.
Yeah,
the
brother.
Tsaritsa is off somewhere fighting a huge monster that's causing a really intense snowstorm.
Which, by the way, we know that that's... Well, okay, listen. World Quest spoilers here. If you haven't done the Eye of Grey World Quest, mute right now. We know that that's either number 1, bullshit, number 2, not at all what everybody else thinks it is, or number 3, a guise. Because we know that what's causing these snowstorms in Snezhnaya is actually the remains of the deceased Cryo Dragon Sovereign. So it's either she's going to deal with the remains, which I don't think could take that long necessarily, or she's going to have a meeting. I have a feeling it could be both, but I think she's using this time as an excuse to go meet with Nibirius. The Mistleton, the weapon, has already got the DNA things going around it, and I think she's already secured some of the power. So we'll see.
We go to a ballet, and it turns into a haunted horror murder mystery thing. Paimon's sick the entire time, so she's just doing a crossword puzzle. Also, we learned that the Tsaritsa is trying to create a weapon via Project Stuzha and Mistleton to defeat the Heavenly Principles. But Renova, the ruler of death, is getting in the way, and that's where the quest leaves us. That's my summary. I think I hit all the highlights. Thanks for
Do you all think... Jesus Christ. Wow. My theory about the Shadow Realm is that they're gonna use it as a means to help them create a new world in some fashion. Do y'all think there's any possibility that they could somehow trap Renova in the Shadow Realm and that might be able to kind of block her powers from Tevat? I don't know, because I was thinking about this yesterday. I always like going through all possible scenarios in my head about what they could do with the newly introduced things of the game. We know that the Shadow Realm doesn't abide by time or space, but they didn't say anything about death yet. What if they could just trap death in there? Would that then stop her from having jurisdiction over Tevat? I don't know. Because I don't think they're going to straight up be able to kill Renova. Strip her of authority or block her authority, I do think is a possibility.
Subscribe to that smash button and watch this video. Okay, no, for real, let's lore morb. I'm gonna be jumping around a bit because I want to immediately talk about the Curse of Death, like ASAP.
I'm so down. All right, Curse of Death.
The Curse of Death is Renova's stopgap to prevent any technological progress that would threaten the Heavenly Principles. In our case, any sort of advancements for Project Stuzha will trigger the curse.
Indeed, I saw a lot of people getting kind of confused about the fact that it could be any kind of technological advancements and progress, period. That's obviously not the case, right? Because there's been plenty of technological advancements over the course of the game, even with the Akasha systems and even Aru and such. It's only technological advancements that directly threaten Celestia or the Heavenly Principles. Which is why I'm also kind of curious. When she saw Paimon, she didn't try to curse Paimon. She tried to take Paimon. That's why I have a feeling. Dude, deadass, I think the most likely thing for Paimon, the least fun but the most likely, is that she was the failed authority of reason. It was only failed because she hadn't matured enough to become reason. That's why a lot of people seem to think that she's going to be the emotional side, right? What do you get when you aren't really rational or reasoned, right? It's more emotion. I have a feeling that is kind of the point of Paimon's journey as well, to kind of grow with us. Because like when Pierro summoned her, she was just a baby, basically. That's basically what he said, right? She was very childish. She could barely talk, basically. She was just a bit dumb, bit silly.
Anyone involved, any witness, or even just anyone around die. But the curse is kind of weird because you get resurrected a few minutes later and just can't remember anything.
Yeah, memory death. Also, what I said before, which I'm really happy about, by the way. Can I just toot my own horn for a minute? Usually, I just come up with crack theories all the time, but I actually had a few realistic theories in recent time, and that was one of them, right? Before Snezhnaya, I did have the ultimate theory that Renova's death was not going to be death in the normal sense of killing people. It was going to be memory death, like the Aranara and such, because it's just a staple that we've seen previously throughout the entire game, and it does turn out that the Curse of Death is exactly that. It's very cool.
Let's set the
Very cool.
stage to explore this more. We first experienced this in the theater. During the ballet, Mitya has a bright idea. This bright idea triggered the Curse of Death, and he and everyone around him were killed. Thanks a lot, nerd.
Yeah.
So the theater is basically this afterlife, maybe more like a purgatory technically. But we don't realize this though, and think we're stuck in an ooky spooky murder mystery with a raging snowstorm outside. Renova is there incognito, disguised as Alyosha, because she's on the clock and she needs to do her job of ferrying souls to the ley lines. This place is kinda difficult to work in though, because the Angels previously did some modifications to the ley lines, specifically here. So there's a limit to how many souls can return at a time, and it's 2 a day for whatever reason. After Renova finished the job, everyone gets resurrected. Except for fake Tonya and Shram, who were already long dead and truly returned to the ley lines.
Man, that was so sad. Fully expected for Tonya, at least on my part, but still very sad. The whole story of that kid broke my poor heart, bro. As well as that fucking annoying-ass factory owner that ended up not being so annoying by the end.
During this act, Odette tells us that she saw Mitya dead a week previous.
Yup.
He has no memory of this and has been seen alive after that, though. He makes a connection to other researchers suffering from memory loss, wondering if they also died but came back somehow. And then it happens again when Mitya runs a critical experiment. After this third death of his, he connects the Curse of Death to advancements in technology. So I guess
God, she's so cool. Sorry. Oh my goodness.
it makes sense so far, but like, the resurrection part is super weird, right? Mitya openly ponders why not just permakill the problem people, and Pierro says that even Renova has her limitations.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and say right off the bat, I don't think that limitation is compassion, because the entire theater thing was just for shits and giggles. Like, she was clearly just fucking with us. I will give her some credit for expert level trolling though, because as Alyosha, she was like, oh, hiding in plain sight is the best strategy. Very funny. Anyway, speculation warning, but I want to explore this idea that her limitation is the fact that she can't actually permakill anyone.
I do think that's the case. The laws of Teyvat are not like the laws of real life. Even though we have the same kind of principles, right? We have life, death, space, and time. They do fundamentally just work different in Teyvat. Somebody dies when their time's up. She doesn't get to decide that. It's her duty to ferry their souls. She doesn't get to decide when it's somebody's time. I mean, she can extend it with the Curse of Immortality, of course. But she doesn't get to decide when it's somebody's time to go. She is just the authority that presides over it. The memory death is one of the things that she can do, though, which is incredibly interesting.
This is going to get into crack territory. I mean, honestly, I've been buying too much Cristal, if you know what I mean.
Jesus.
But listen, hear me out. Renova tells us that death is...
Does that mean the third Descender Taker didn't die? Well, that was well, that wasn't necessarily Renova. That motherfucker got ripped to shreds and made into chess pieces. So I think, depends on what you mean by death, I guess. Most people have done the Archon quest, not everyone's done the World quest yet. I can't talk about it too much, but there's some very interesting parallels possible.
only truly complete when the soul is returned to the ley lines.
Yep.
And as the ruler of death, she ferries souls to the ley lines.
Indeed.
With the Curse of Death, though, people get resurrected and lose their memories. Like, it feels very different from finding that eternal peace that
Kind of like a Samsara cycle, no?
we've seen before, but it does seem familiar in another way. This form of death does match an existing definition we have for it. So,
Samsara.
pop quiz. Class, what's the line I always bring up from Aranyaka and Arlecchino's story quest? Say it with me. Death is just a one-time loss of memory.
Yep.
So here we have two distinct definitions of death. One involving ley lines, the other memory. And I do want to specify that I don't think these are necessarily different or exclusive, but they're certainly different angles.
True.
So the Curse of Death sounds more like the Aranara's definition. Which brings up the question, if these are discrete different types of death, in the theater, did the souls actually go to the ley lines? Here's my speculation reminder.
I feel like they did. And the reason why I feel like that is at least the people that were already dead. I feel like that was the way to send them off. The black mist that was rising, is the exact same as the blue mist that you get at the ley lines, the blue ley lines. It is literally just ley line dust rising, which is very interesting. I noticed it after the quest, but it is a cool little detail. It's not actually black like they say. It is like the blue ley line mist.
Although Renova does deliver souls, I don't think she has true authority over if they actually return to the ley lines. Like, I wonder if she's not really resurrecting people, and perhaps it's more of a consequence of the ley lines rejecting the souls. As Renova says, death comes simply because one's time has come. And perhaps for those resurrected, it wasn't actually their time. Here's the crux and the crack of my argument. It is fate that determines the timing and circumstances of one's death.
For sure, I get that. If we think about it like the loom of fate, the way I've always looked at it is the Four Shades had control over fate in that the space that it is in, and then life developed it. Time measures the string, death snips the string. But then you could also attribute it to time. Actual death could just be time. Just because it's Renova's job to fully commit to the snip, time at the end of the day is indeed what measures somebody's life, right?
Not Renova. And basically, the curse of death isn't a part of fate. Like, she can't just go around perma-killing people all willy-nilly because it's not a part of the plan. It's just thought policing, literally. For example, the two who had long been dead did not get resurrected because they were supposed to already have returned to the ley lines. And that's because they died as fate had dictated. Oh, and also, if it were like a true death and resurrection, I don't think Pierro would have been affected at all. Because I was low-key surprised when it seems like he was affected even briefly. Renova describes it as him simply waking up. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, basically I think Renova's authority isn't as grand as she suggests, and perhaps she's more of a courier who still has to abide by her boss's rules.
She's just an Amazon deliverer, bro. She's delivering packages left and right. No, she's still incredibly strong is the thing. Technically, if this is true, Renova still would be the primary target for us to get rid of. Not kill, but prevent from stopping us. A lot of people are not going to like this question because they always assume what some people have thought for the longest time is just the truth. Like, a lot of people still to this day think that Fatui is this one big terrible organization that want the worst for Teyvat. We've known since like fucking Leoa that's just not the case. Do we know for a fact that Celestia is like the bad guy? You know? It's a really interesting thing. I feel like Celestia is just the throne. I feel like it is just going to be the throne in the sky. That's it. It's just whoever's in charge at the minute, that's where they preside. They wield the authority of the world, basically. But I think if Ether gets that position, he's probably going to realize it ain't as easy as it looks, you know? If you think about it from their perspective, for example, if they are utilizing their shade of death only for the purpose of stopping advancements to a technology that will wipe them out, it kind of makes it look like Celestia is not necessarily the bad guy, right? Do you think it's an empty throne? I think the reason the big old HP is asleep, or Celestia is sleeping, is very likely due to one of two things. Either, yes, it's an empty throne and it's waiting for us to get up there because, again, it's a cycle that keeps repeating itself, right? Or it's waiting for Paimon to nourish enough to make it whole again, which would probably be its reason. The shade of reason. I'm just curious because so far we truly do not know who the quote-unquote bad guy actually is. And everything could be flipped on its head at any goddamn moment. We don't know enough. This is the thing. We've been in this game for 6 years. We keep getting answers every fucking day, bro. And we're like, oh my god, we still don't know enough.
By her boss's rules. Again, this is just my crystal speculation. So whether or not it's anywhere close to the truth, I want to talk about how we solved this issue of Renova halting Project Stuzha using the Curse of Death.
Okay.
So
backfire it, bro. Just hold a mirror in front of her and then she'll forget. She's like, what am I doing here?
The big question is, how do you beat a god or someone with godlike powers?
Trap him.
I'm personally of the opinion that you gotta flip the script. Like, hey, do you guys remember when Capitano was revealed to be Conrian? And I was immediately like, oh, I bet the curse of immortality is probably going to be a plot point in light of the rule of death. Yeah, I think they're going to do something similar maybe, or that is use the rules of the curse of death against her, or at least subvert it somehow. Here's my line of thought. After the curse of death is triggered, people suffer memory loss. Like, that's the point regardless of my previous discussion, to prevent progress. In the theater, people were able to kind of remember simply because of the weird ley line thing, with 2 exceptions. Traveler is a descender, so he's Bill Dipperly. The other is Mitya, because he carved Renova's eye symbol into his hand. Because he did it in the afterlife, he actually carved it into his soul, which is why Traveler can't see it, and why Mitya was able to remember on his own. So I think that's a small plot point they're going to expand on because it's a hack to get around the whole memory wipe thing. You know, imprinting a reminder into your soul. Imagine Mitya setting up a tattoo shop in the afterlife. That'd be so sick.
Dude, that'd be fucking funny. Oh my god, the little hands just doing all the work behind him while he fucking yaps. It's like, God, I wish I wasn't here right now. God, this fucking 9 to 5's killing me, bro.
Bruh.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I feel like they definitely have to address this carving into the soul thing, but it also almost feels too obvious because I also feel like they'd want to play more specifically with Renova's limitations and not necessarily gaming the system, unless that's the limitation. Like simply the fact that the curses that make up the world are totally flawed. Anyway, just thinking out loud, I want to yell about Pierro and Paimon now.
All right, here we go. The
So
Jester
Paimon
and the
is
Fairy.
from Celestia, confirmed, and Pierro is the one who caught her out of the sky. I love the mental
Bro lost his 50-50, man.
image of Pierro trying to gift Paimon to the Venster King, because to be totally fair to Earman, a dumb idiot diaper baby is objectively a terrible gift.
It is.
Anyway,
it is.
though, but like, their relationship is so interesting.
Especially one that's this fucking hungry, dude. Jesus.
When Paimon says, "We must have been really close," Pierro is like, no, I actually ignored you the entire time. Baloney! Doubt. Don't believe that for a second. First of all,
I don't know. I feel like he's partially telling the truth here, bro. I'm not gonna care. I feel like he was more focused on more pressing matters, especially Hroptatia. That is, dude, the whole Hroptatia name drop and stuff. I was like, oh fuck, bro. These next 3 patches are gonna be banger. He's being sundery. Yeah, I could see that too, to be fair. I could. But I feel like he's more up front.
he hesitates before saying that. So that ...
really?
is carrying a lot of weight.
I took that as more of a, I don't want to offend you right now, but yeah, we weren't close at all. I forgot you existed after a week. Like, I saw it like that. It's like when I pulled Siegeween, dude. I pulled Siegeween, used it for a YouTube short, and then chatted like, what? Do you have Siegeween? I'm like, oh, well, I do, but...
feel. More importantly, you're telling me, like twice, the busiest and most important man in Snezhnaya goes out of his way to personally take care of Paimon, and...
Well, I think that's because he probably knows how important she is too. But I do like the idea that they were close back in the day, like he raised her basically, or tried to. I do like that idea. I would like to be proven wrong by my own thoughts here. It's just how my brain automatically interpreted this.
even tanks Renova to protect her.
Yeah.
Not to mention the whole living in his palace thing and that after image we see of them interacting from long ago. Let's be so fucking for real right now, guys. To me, there seems to be a tenderness and protectiveness here that makes me think they, in fact, used to be besties, or even Pierro. Protectiveness here that makes me think they...
Your obsession with it. Now, this is a line that I didn't quite pick up on it in the moment. So Pronova's saying Piero's obsession with Paimon, and he, like, clenches his fist. No, fair enough, actually. I did not pick up on this. That's the most telling thing for me, that he definitely did care about her.
They, in fact, used to be besties, or even Pierro played sort of a fatherly role. Not daddy, to be clear. Consider
Sure.
this. If you've rewatched the first Pierro scene with this lens, it's actually super heartbreaking, like devastating.
Doesn't she mean it to Traveler? I don't think so. Here?
Fucking for real
Ruler of
right now,
Death, what
guys.
do you want?
To me, there seems to be
That thing may be a creation of Celestia.
a tenderness and protectiveness here that makes me think
Your obsession with it baffles me. But he's clenching his fist, so whether or not, it doesn't matter. She's probably talking to them both, but I feel like this is more directed at Pierro, who just stood in the way of a fucking death ray.
they, in fact, used to be besties, or even
Because he's the one offended by this, not the Traveler.
Pierro played sort of a fatherly role. Not daddy, to be clear. Consider
Okay.
this. If you've rewatched the first Pierro scene with this lens, it's actually super heartbreaking, like devastating. Pierro heard Paimon's voice in the snow, and he came running looking all stressed out and shocked and anxious. And he first talks to her like he knows her and expected her to recognize him, but then he realized she didn't have any memories of him. And he gives her a blanket so she can rest comfortably, and then he just silently stares off into the distance. And he stays with her until we arrive. Sorry, this just feels to me like a man who's totally gutted that Paimon completely forgot about him.
You know, As well, guys, this effect on the screen has happened multiple times in this quest. At first, it just kind of looked like white noise,
It just
right?
feels to me like a man.
But it also happens in the Eye of Grey quest quite a decent amount. Isn't it just flashback effects? It definitely could be. It definitely could be, because it happens a lot when it talks about like the Bel Ye Saw stuff, like the actual Bel Ye Saw stuff. But I think it also, then again, the Traveler did also go back in time. It could be. It could just be back in time effects, to be fair.
And who's totally gutted that Paimon completely forgot about him. And I think what Pierro says to Traveler is actually projection. You two seem like you're very important to each other. You should take more care not to get separated. Also note the zoom into the icy stare. And finally, Paimon should be your priority. Those all seem, very pointed. Like, are we, talking from experience here, maybe? But also consider the scene at the end when Paimon and Traveler hug. It pans to show Pierro just standing there alone. Kinda left out in the cold, you could say.
Every single nation we have been to so far has almost shown an opposite of that nation's ideals during the quests. Mondstadt's freedom, it kind of showed us at least how in the past they definitely weren't so free, right? Even in the future, there's still a lot of constraints. What was Liyue's? Contracts. I guess we're still waiting for that one. Inazuma's eternity? Certainly fucking not. Sumeru's wisdom? There was a severe lack of that throughout the entire fucking questline, up until the end, I would say. Fontaine's law? Well, look how that went. Natlan's war? Wasn't exactly what people thought, and by the end of it, it was kind of the opposite. But Snezhnaya's love, bro, is just gonna be fucking heartbreak. It's gonna be fucking heartbreak. We've already seen it again with some of the world quests, man. Oh my goodness. I feel like this nation is gonna be a literal heart-wrencher. Genuinely, I do.
That was 100% intentional and a choice.
Oh, yeah,
So,
it
yeah,
was.
I definitely think Pierro and Paimon used to be super close, and then they got separated. And this is vibes only, to be fair, but based on Pierro's advice to Traveler, I'd reckon to guess that Pierro feels responsible for that, and he feels guilty. Which then puts the whole, oh, I completely ignored you statement in a new light as well. Because it's not that he's lying, it's he truly feels like he did ignore her, and he did not take the care to not get separated. Yeah, so maybe this was all obvious and I'm just hyperfixating, or maybe I'm completely wrong, but like, I honestly can't tell because I am so biased. Like, I love Paimon and I've been obsessed with Pierro for checks notes since version 1.5 over half a decade ago? Apparently.
1.5? Was that Unreconciled Stars by chance? How the fuck did anyone even know about Pierro before Inazuma was out? Gula Yanfei Ajdahar patch. Unreconciled or just Artifact Law? Oh, I guess. Yeah, it could have been Artifact Law, actually. True. Pale Flame Law. Interesting. Okay, fair. God damn, that's really cool.
Clowns are my type. So I just like thinking about him a lot. Shut up. Side note, so this is more of a random tidbit. Some specific music played during the scene where Paimon and Traveler are talking about Pierro in the beginning, and I thought it was unique, but it's just overworld music. But the timing was exceptional. Basically, it has a section that's almost directly lifted from the song Vesti la Juba from the opera Pagliacci.
Oh, this is going to be where I'm in it, isn't it? During this part, I think I had a little bit of fucking memory death myself because I started listening to the music mid-discussion and I forgot what I was saying.
Guarantee you know this song. It's been parodied so much. It's the sad clown song. Pagliacci is an opera about a clown, and this piece is about how he must don his costume despite his heartbreak. Specifically, heartbreak over his lover being stolen by another. So I think that's interesting thematically. Oh, and I'll go ahead and play it so you can do a comparison.
Oh, such a good song, dude. Yeah, it's like identical. Oh,
and
it's
again,
so good.
it is just overworld music, but it does have a chance to play during that scene I'm talking about. And here's a clip of Bran experiencing what I experienced.
Okay. I was gonna say, I definitely heard that too.
So maybe you can understand why I lost my goddamn mind.
I think my brain just shut down when I heard it.
That's the only reason Paimon knows he was the jester.
That makes it sound like they've met before, and obviously Paimon doesn't know. It makes it sound like Just like with Lumine, they've kind of...
God, I love
I was like, wait a minute.
Pierro so much. Oh! Anyway, I don't have much to speculate on with Paimon. I mean, the whole no memory thing for 500 years is super weird. Maybe she died in a loss of memory type way, but because she was under the ocean, she couldn't actually come back to life properly until Traveler fished her out. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, what's even weirder for me, did Dainsleif really never encounter her?
Yeah, this is some sus shit, bro. Dane, he might have forgot. He might have, to be fair. I doubt it. If he could remember shit from fucking back in the day with Ved and stuff, dude, I'm like, I think he might be a lying piece of shit, dude.
I feel like people in the court would have at least heard about a diaper baby from Celestia, though he does have certified old man memory. Anyway, that's all I have on that for now. It's time for Project Stuzha and Misselton.
I think people forget that Lumine is also the canon traveler. Both are. Yeah, so the thing for me is the Teyvat chapter storyline preview. Yes, it shows Aether as the main traveler, right? But in everything else, dude, it's been pretty fucking clear that both twins can be considered the canon traveler. That's always been the case. Both are technically the canon travelers. It's always been really hard for me to believe that Dane's specifically talking about Lumine in that Teyvat chapter storyline preview. That's why I keep coming up with so many different theories about it. At first, I thought he was talking, when he's like, show me that you're worthier than I to rescue her. At first, I actually thought it was Asmodee because of the red corruption going up her instead of it being like the normal blue colors. And then when we found out that Comrions are the descendants of the Tsaritsa, I was like, maybe it could be about the Tsaritsa, and the kid holding that one flower could be about the whole, I too remember how much she loved these flowers. But now we've learned that those flowers were actually used to cure that horrible icy cough sickness. So I'm like, now that flips that on its head, because again, new information has been brought to the table, and I'm like, so that's probably not what he's talking about there. But the Tsaritsa and that her son, that kid holding that flower, is now very interesting, because it's like, he was probably sick, or somebody was sick. But now with Paimon as well, been the creation of freaking Celestia, and also spending time with Pierro, Dane lying about it, or just not remembering, it could also be about her. It could be so many people. To be honest, likelihood is it probably is about Lumine, but I love theorizing about that, because it seems like nowadays, dude, every couple of patches, new information is brought that could make sense for other people. It's just so cool.
So Project Stuzha is basically causing this energy crisis. It's energy intensive because they're looking for an alternative energy source that would be able to be used in a fight against the Heavenly Principles. Project Stuzha is basically one aspect of Project Misselton, which is the actual production of the weapon to be used. Since the Heavenly Principles were already able to...
You know that I think about it now, because I just read a message in chat. As per Aranara, death is a one-time loss of memory. Yep, if Cataclysm happened and everyone was affected, perhaps Paimon's death was indeed the memory loss, and that was the effect that the Cataclysm had on her, as someone from Celestia, by Sansa. If Paimon was indeed in Comrior at the time of the Cataclysm, and the Cataclysm likely happened due to making too much advancement and technological progress on something to attack the HP. Renova was indeed there, and it does affect everybody in the vicinity. Could it have been that he actually did raise her a decent amount, and she got close to remembering stuff, and, you know, that was the reason that the curse was triggered? We're going to get the questions answered very soon, more than likely, to be fair. But it's just so interesting.
Subdue the light realm and create elemental energy in the human realm, those would not be sufficient to beat the Heavenly Principles. To that end, the Fatui are investigating an energy source related to the Third Descender and Stellar Linchpins. We don't know much about Stellar Linchpins aside from the fact that they're related to the Third Descender. And later, Pierro says that the Gnosis are going to be used as some sort of important bargaining chip. I'm not sure what he means by that, but the Gnosis are also related to the Third Descender, being his remains. So this investigation is probably because Descender Juice represents a high...
I doubt this is the case, but the Stellar Linchpins could also house part of the Third Descender's soul, just like the Gnosis house the body. But I'd need to cook on that one a little bit more and think about it, because I don't understand how they could use that, even that as a bargaining chip, because surely wouldn't that mean the people with those would have to lose their powers to be able to bring him back, basically, if the plan is to bring him back, which it definitely might not be. I talk about this a lot during my World Quest playthrough. I'll be uploading it to YouTube soon.
Higher order of power. For example, Renee of Narcissenkreuz has notes talking about how the Abyss and Kavarna are both higher order powers. They can supersede elemental energy and rewrite the rules. And in fact, they both have a will. So I imagine that's why the Abyss sibling is trying to use a higher order power that has a will. And similarly, I imagine Descender Juice would also have that will.
Yep.
Because Descenders, of course, have a will that can rival a world. I don't really have any more thoughts, but I had a fun observation I wanted to share. Mistleton appears to be some sort of glowing light spear.
Yeah.
And it made me think about Legend of the Shattered Halberd. In the final volume, we learned that Princess Fischl is a halberd herself. And her father, the God King, anticipates that she will one day pierce him and end his madness. So back in my 7.0 livestream reaction video, I mentioned that the Tsaritsa has a lot of parallels with Princess Fischl. So I think it would be pretty cool if the Tsaritsa pierces the heavenly principles with a spear, similar to how Princess Fischl would pierce the God King with a halberd. I just think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I have
that.
for now. I'm kind of rushing because I need to go get lost in the wilderness soon. So
What?
Thanks for watching. I appreciate your comments so much. And check your
Dude.
smoke detectors. Okay, beep. Bye.
Okay, bye. Dude, good theory, man. Good theory. Roosevelt always cuts with the theories. That was very cool. You should definitely go check her out, chat. I am already subscribed, but you should be as well. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing?